Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today we are going to discuss about diode. What is diode or a semiconductor diode? Internal structure of diode. What is PN junction? Working of diode. But before going towards the study of diode, we have to get a little information about what are conductors, semiconductor and insulator. So start with conductor. Conductor, any material or object which will allow charge to flow in one or more direction, such as iron, silver, copper, aluminum, etc. What are insulator? Insulators are opposite of conductor which do not allow current to pass through it. Okay, any object or material in which electric current cannot flow freely, such as rubber, glass, paper, and etc. Now let's come to the most important part, which is semiconductor. Okay, so semiconductor which allow current to flow through it, but on some conditions. Okay, it is substance which allow current to flow through it under some conditions, and the best example for that is diode, which allow current to flow in one direction and stop the current in the opposite direction. So there is some conditions apply here. Okay. Okay, a diode is a semiconductor device that essentially act as a one-way switch for current. As you know that it's allowing current to flow only in one direction, so it's a switch. Okay, I mentioned that thing before. When a diode is reverse bias, it means if we give it a reverse current, it acts as an insulator and does not permit current to flow. Diode is made by the combination of p-type and n-type material. Okay, so what is p-type and n-type material? It's an important part. Okay, a technique which is used to make intrinsic material to p-type and n-type material called as doping. So we are going to make an intrinsic material to p-type material and n-type material, and the technique which I am going to use, it's called doping. Let's suppose we are going to make a n-type material, so we have to pick element from the group 4a. Okay, so we are picking let's suppose silicon. We are picking a silicon, and we are going to, if we are going to make it n-type material, we have to pick some element from the 5th group. Let's suppose we are going to pick phosphorus. Okay, silicon from 4a and phosphorus. The atomic number of silicon is 14 and valence electron, which is 4. So it has 4 electron in its last shell. Okay, last orbit. And if we talk about phosphorus, it has atomic number of 15 and the valence electron, which means that in the last orbit it has 5 electron and the valency is 3. Okay, if you count it like this here, 1 2 3 4 5, so 5 electron in the last shell, so it has a valency of 3. Okay, so how we do know that it has a valency of 3? It's a Aufbau principle which we are going to follow, in which we have to fill the electrons in the s orbit subshells, basically s orbit, p orbit, and d, and the f. Okay, the Aufbau principle says that the electron will fill up the first s orbital first, then the second s, then the 2p, and then 3s, then 3p, and 4s, like this: 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d, 4p, 5s. Okay, it flows like this. So we have to fill electron in the s orbit first s, and then fill, if we have remaining electrons, we are going to fill the 2s, then 2p, 3s. So these are actually subshells S, P, D, F. In S shell, there is a maximum electron of 2. In P shell, 6 electrons, D 10, and F is 14. Okay. So if we are talking about S shell, there are only 2 electrons goes in the S subshell. Okay. If you are talking about a P shell, we can only fill 6 electrons. Similarly, D and F. Atomic number of silicon is 14. Now we are going to follow the Aufbau principle and fill its electrons, and let's see where we are going to find which is the subshell. Okay, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So 2 electrons, 2 to 4, 4 and this 6, 4 and 6 is 10. Now we have remaining 4 electrons. So 3s2 and then 3p2. So 2, 4, 6 means 10, 10 and 2, 12 and 3p2. So as you can see that in p subshell we can fill 6 electrons, but we already have 14 electrons in silicon, so we can fill only 2 electrons in p shells. So there is a valency of 4 electrons. Okay, if you follow this Aufbau principle, you can see 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2 and 3p2 like this. Okay, so similarly we are going to find the subshell of phosphorus in the same Aufbau principle which we have followed here. So its atomic number is 15, so it's mean 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p3. Okay, so it has 5 electrons in his last shell, and in subshell of p it has 3 electrons and the valency is basically 3. Okay, so when we are going to dope these 2 electrons, we get a n-type material. As you know that it has a valency of 4 electron and it has valency of 3 electron. So when these two atoms combine together, they make a n-type material. Okay, like this. So there is a free electron which will conduct electricity. So we can create a p-type material as well as we create a n-type material. So we are going to pick third A group, and from where we are going to pick boron, which has atomic number 5 and valence electron is 3. So it has 3 electron in its last shell, so the valency is 5. So we will get a free hose which will conduct electricity, and it makes this material a p-type material. So I hope you get the idea of how we are going to make intrinsic material to a p-type or n-type material. Now let's come to the p-n junction. We have p-type material and n-type material. In a p-type material there are holes, and in n-type material there are electrons. When we combine these p and n-type material, we got a barrier. There is a diffusion process going on. Diffusion means uh, there is a movement from higher concentration to lower concentration. It's mean that positive, these holes are moving towards the n-type material and these negative electrons moving towards the p-type material. So higher concentration to lower concentration, and that will make a barrier, or we also say that depletion layer, potential barrier. And if we talk about the silicon, the it's get a potential voltage here. That's why we are saying potential barrier. We have a potential barrier of 0.7 volt. So when we want to conduct the electricity in one direction, we have to provide more voltage than 0.7. Okay, now let's about biasing, forward bias and reverse bias. That is the construction of the diode. So we are making a diode. So that's a PN junction. How it's made. Now you know, you get a better understanding of this. Let's talk about biasing. So first we are going to talk about reverse bias. So in reverse bias, we are going to connect the p-type material with the negative terminal of the battery, as you can see here. So we are connecting the p-type material with the negative terminal of battery, and the n-type material is connected towards the p-type positive terminal of the battery. Okay, And what will happen, it will the negative terminal will attract the positive or holes or p-type material towards itself, which make the potential barrier wider, and the conduction will stop, and it act as a insulator and does not allow current to flow through it. And if we talk about forward biasing, so we are going to connect the positive terminal of the battery to the p-type material and negative terminal of the battery with the n-type material. What will happen? It will repel the negative side of the battery, will repel the n-type materials. As you can see, as you already know about that similar forces repel each other, and the opposite forces attract each other. When it repel the negative electrons, so it will jump towards the potential barrier, and it will jump towards the p-type material, and it will be attracted by the positive side of the battery terminal, which makes the potential barrier narrow, and conduction will start. There is a threshold voltage or potential barrier, which we are talking about before, that silicon has a potential barrier of 0.7 volts. When the voltage of the battery goes above from the 0.7 volt, it will act as a closed switch. In a closed switch, there is no resistor, or it's just like a simple wire which conducting electric current. Let's move toward the simulation part, and for that purpose we are going to use multisim. Okay, we are going to make a simple series circuit. First we are going to use a diode of 1N4007 model number is this. Okay, and a DC source. So we are going to pick a variable DC source like this, and a ground as well. We need a ground. Okay, now we are going to connect it in series like this. Okay, so the voltage range will be from 0 to maximum value should be 2. It's enough for us, and increment is 5, so whenever we are going to place A, it will increase by 5%. Okay. Now we are going to place a multimeter here in series to measure the current in the circuit. Okay, like this. Okay, run, open this, select ampere, DC source. Okay, so the voltage is initially 0, so 0 ampere is flowing. And now at 0.1 is 52.61 nanoampere, 499.065 nanoampere, 0.3 volt, 4.2 micro, 0.4 volt, 36 micro, 0.5, 300 micro, 0.6, 2.6 milliampere. So before 0.6 it was in microamperes and nanoamperes, and macro and nano means it is negligible. Okay, at 0.7 it is something like 22 milliampere, at 0.8 it's 167 milliampere, 0.9 857 milliampere, and at 1 volt it's 2.3 ampere. So as you can see, when the voltage is rising before 0.7, the current in the circuit is negligible, it's equivalent to 0. But when it get to the point 0.7 volt, it just breaking the potential barrier of the PN junction, and and the current start rising. And when it break the potential barrier, the current just start flowing. It's act like a switch, as I said before. So what you have to do, you have to connect the circuit like this. This DC source, the positive side is connected to the positive terminal of the diode, and the negative side is connected to the negative terminal of the diode. This is the forward bias condition. Let's move towards the reverse biasing. Let's see what happened in the reverse condition. Simply, we are going to disconnect from here point, and we are going to flip it like this. Okay, so the negative side is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and positive side is connected to the negative side of the diodes. Sorry, I just mistakenly called it battery. It's not battery, it's a diode. Okay, so let's see. So as you can see, at 1 volt the current is nanoampere. So if we increase the voltage, it doesn't matter, the current is same. Even at 2 volts the current is nanoampere, so it's not allow current to pass through the circuit. So in reverse bias, it's act as a open switch. You do not allow current to flow through it. So I hope you like this video. Subscribe it, like it, and share it. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.